Why go animation versus live action?
Well, you're asking a bunch of animators, so I think that this was the choice to pick Star Wars. For once, you get to see the characters, the Jedi, do what they can really do in an animated version. It's a little bit exaggerated from the live action, but you can finally believe that the Jedi are really doing what they're doing. It's so amazing to see the kinds of action that we've accomplished in this movie.
I think in today's world, animation is the best medium to bring out the best of fantasy, science fiction, and Star Wars. Star Wars is the epitome of these genres. You know, it's a world that is very grounded in reality, at the same time is very stylized. And I think animation, 3D animation today, is the perfect medium for that, because you can create a world, a background behind the characters where people feel comfortable, feel like they are grounded in an element of reality. At the same time, depending on what you want to push in terms of the idea of a scene or of a plot of a moment, you can push creatively, you know, style-wise, lighting, facial features, and so on.
Well, I think along the lines of what the Japanese and the Europeans are doing in terms of animation, really bringing it to a wider audience. They've been doing that kind of stuff for many years now, and we're taking kind of the influences from anime, from European animation, and really melding it into a new genre of American-style 3D animation. And that, I think, is something that can touch the general audiences, that people will relate to it.
Yeah, I think Sergio is totally dead on. I mean, I think that animation worldwide has been a medium that's not been restricted to sort of, you know, the stigma of it's only for children or this or that forever. And it's been coming of age in this country now for, I think, over a decade, slowly but surely. And I think that we ourselves are sort of the product of that already. And it being Star Wars, I think, goes along the way to help further that cause, you know, quote unquote, because I think that it comes with things that are not already just attached to animation, and so it helps, I think, bring people into the medium without it only, you know, being thought of as, okay, it's for kids.
Well, I'm not sure if you can really predict what George Lucas will do in the future with Star Wars, but for now, this is really the medium. I think it's taken off from what was started on Cartoon Network with a couple shorts. We've expanded on those designs, and we've brought in a new innovative look for Star Wars to this new generation, and also carried the story in a much more complicated, much more sophisticated way. You're going to see things that you wouldn't see in the live-action movies, and stuff that, the depth of characters that we haven't touched on before. That's the kind of thing that I think the audiences will relate to.
Yeah, I mean, I think George has a twinkle in his eye and is really good at surprising the people around him, first and foremost the people who work with him. So I think anytime we being the world, get used to what we think Star Wars is, you know, where it's going to go or where George is going to go with it, he's going to come out with something that's going to surprise all of us. So, you know, I think that we're definitely opening up a lot of doors, but where it's going to go, it's going to be up to George.
So everybody wants to know, how is it working with George? How is the working relationship?
Well, he's definitely a very demanding creative individual. The standards for this movie are very high, and we have to live up to that. But at the same time, he's given us the freedom as not only artists, but also fans in this Star Wars universe to create a movie by the fans for the fans. So that is a real unique opportunity.
And he has a very high standard. He also wanted to create a safety bubble for us creatively to work in. And at the stage where George is at in his career, that's always been his philosophy. He basically wanted us to be able to focus on doing the best show that we could, that we wanted to do. And he let us do that in all the right places, and he'll come in all the right places, and just we feel then his presence in terms of his experience and just to focus on creating the best moment, you know, editing wise or an animation or a concept design, and it's just a terrific. One way I can answer that somewhat succinctly, just to give you an idea of like the kind of filtering that goes through. We have an award of the week called Nerd of the Week at work. So that gives you an idea of who is on this crew and how attentive we are also in terms of when it comes to professionally, you know, to our work. We all keep in mind the fact that even though we have this bubble, the Star Wars universe is a huge universe in terms of the fans, in terms of the continuities. I think from the very beginning, and Dave Filoni, our series director, has been very conscious of trying to make sure that we have our own identity, but at the same time, not just being complete maverick and making sure that as much as possible, it fits with other parts of the universe. Also keeping in mind a golden rule, which is that the quality of the story is paramount. And George has always said that. Make concessions where you can, where needed, but always stay true to the story. If the moment is right, then that's what you have to go with.
Yeah, the fans are going to see things that they've seen throughout the Star Wars universe, and that we've put little dabs and touches of that in the movie. And these are things that only possibly the fans would know about. And this is part of the reason that we're making a movie by the fans, for the fans. A lot of what you're talking about, the so-called nerds out there who really understand the Star Wars lore, they're going to see that in this film. So I don't think it will disappoint.
And when we catch stuff ourselves, sometimes there's things that we say, okay, we have to go back and change because that doesn't fit with something that conflicts. But there are other times where we say, you know what, that's a cool thing. That the fans will see this and we'll hear about it on the blogs, and that's part of the life of.
Well, I must say, this movie is 100% handmade. Every frame of this film has been touched on by an artist. So a lot of what you're talking about, the little twinkle in the eye, those little details, everything of what an animator's job is to make that come to life is in the film. And possibly, yeah, if in a live-action film, you'd have a live-action actor doing that. But now we have artists and animators who are very conscious of what we need to come across and bring to the fans.
It goes through filters. It goes through. It's a repetitive process, but in a good way. You essentially make your film in post-production, and so it's a cycle of like constantly going over the cut, going over the designs, going over the boards, and as you go, every time you watch it, you play it, you discuss it, you will catch something that you want to refine, a moment you want to change, something you want to add, performance. Sometimes you go back and actually have a line read again by an actor because you realize once you've matched it to the animation that actually having this set up with a upbeat tone didn't work, so you'll get a more dramatic tone, and so on. And so having that being in post-production, that's actually a good thing because it helps you just watch it over and over and over and over. You edit it and shoot it at the same time until you get the right moment.